Dr. Tessa Moore adjusted her headset and looked out over the endless expanse of stars. The celestial Voyager drifted silently through the blackness, humming as it moved between light years. Tessa had spent years cataloging and studying new worlds, driven by a lifelong curiosity about what lay beyond her home star. Her task on this voyage was straightforward. Update the Galactic Registry's records on intelligent life forms throughout the Milky Way. But today something was off. She was scanning entries in the Galactic Registry, searching for unmarked planets that might hold intelligent species. But as her eyes skimmed the map, she noticed a conspicuous absence. One particular solar system in Sector 13C had all the planets marked but was missing its third from the Sun. That planet, Earth, was simply absent. She blinked and rechecked the coordinates. There was no error, Earth was unlisted. Other planets around it had full entries with population estimates, biological details, cultural customs, and more. Earth's lack of entry wasn't merely unusual, it was unheard of. "Computer, query the Galactic Registry for Earth," Tessa said, her voice calm but curious. The computer responded with its usual monotone. "The planet Earth is not available in the registry. No additional data accessible." "Not available?" She leaned back, confused. Earth was located in a well-known solar system, and it was home to the species called humans, yet its entry was locked down tighter than any restricted sector she'd encountered before. This wasn't some uncharted world on the galaxy's edge. Earth had been well documented in the past. She knew she'd seen brief mentions of humans in old records. Determined to understand the mystery, Tessa keyed in a search for archived data. After a few moments, her screen filled with files, many of which were marked as redacted or sealed by council order. Others contained only cryptic references to Earth as Zone T9X or the Terran Anomaly. Strange phrases like unpredictable anomaly and galactic protocol of non-engagement appeared repeatedly. A cold shiver ran down her spine as she scrolled further. What on Earth, or beyond it, was so problematic about humans that the entire galaxy avoided them? Pushing her curiosity further, Tessa opened a link to the Galactic Records Bureau, a shadowy department known for maintaining restricted data on worlds deemed too dangerous for public access. She managed to connect with an archivist named Raylan, an older alien with multifaceted eyes and a bored expression. "Dr. Moore, how can I assist you?" Raylan asked, his gaze drifting to her request. "Raylan, I'm conducting a survey on the Milky Way's intelligent species, and I noticed something odd. Earth specifically." The archivist's eyes flickered with sudden interest, but he quickly looked away, his mouth tightening. "What about it?" he asked, his voice flat. "I can't access any information about Earth or humans in the registry," Tessa replied. "Why is that? Every other species has an entry. Earth is blank." Raylan sighed, looking around as if checking that they weren't overheard. "Let's just say Earth is complicated. We don't discuss it in polite company. It's considered a zone of cognitive dissonance, an area we avoid for the galaxy's good." "Cognitive dissonance? That sounds extreme," she replied, her eyebrows rising. "Why would the galaxy avoid one small planet?" Raylan hesitated. "In the past, a few alien species attempted contact, but it never ended well. Humans have traits that are difficult for us to process. Interacting with them causes disturbances. It's like they're somehow incompatible with galactic norms." "Disturbances?" she echoed, pressing him. "What kind of disturbances?" "Advanced technology fails. Logical minds lose coherence. Ambassadors become erratic and, well, our attempts to understand humans or interact with their culture never work. Their concepts, humor, even their logic, it doesn't translate. We call it the human anomaly. They don't fit into any known archetype." Tessa's mind raced. "So the Galactic Council pretends they don't exist? Just to avoid dealing with them?" "Precisely," he answered, nodding grimly. "Any mention of Earth is met with silence. The Council prefers to pretend they're a myth, a story for curious minds to chase. But the truth is, humans are dangerous. Too adaptable, too unpredictable. So we quietly lock them out of the galactic community." "But we're scientists," Tessa replied, struggling to understand. "Isn't it our duty to study all life?" Raylan shook his head. "Some mysteries aren't worth the risk. If you're smart, Dr. Moore, you'll let this go. Earth isn't something we're meant to comprehend." But Tessa couldn't let it go. The mystery of a world deemed too strange, too dangerous, and too unpredictable gnawed at her mind. Why would the entire galaxy shut out one small blue planet? What did humans do, or what were they capable of, that made them unapproachable? As she disconnected the call, Tessa leaned back in her chair, the stars before her now holding more secrets than ever. Earth was out there, and it wasn't just unknown. It was forbidden. And that only made her curiosity burn hotter. She made up her mind then and there, she would get to the bottom of Earth's mystery no matter the cost. Dr. Tessa Moore paced the cramped bridge of the celestial voyager, unable to shake the mystery of Earth from her mind. Days had passed since her unsettling conversation with Raylan, the Galactic Records archivist, but her questions had only multiplied. Why would the Council go to such lengths to hide Earth? What could make one planet so incomprehensible that the galaxy pretended it didn't exist? Desperate for answers, Tessa sought out Zarn, a telepathic information broker known for his vast network of hidden knowledge. It had taken some creative bartering, but finally she managed to reach him through a private communications channel. When his holographic image flickered to life, Zarn's translucent blue skin shimmered under the dim lights of her ship. His elongated face gave little away, but his keen eyes suggested he knew much more than he let on. "Dr. Moore," he said, his voice a mix of curiosity and caution. "Few would dare pursue information on Earth. Do you know what you're asking?" "I need to know why Earth has been blacklisted by the Council," Tessa replied, undeterred. "The Galactic Registry blocks all records. I can't access a single file on humanity." "Why?" Zarn tilted his head, considering her with something like pity. "The truth is, Earth is on what we call the Galactic Blacklist. It's designated as a zone of cognitive dissonance. The Council decided long ago that humans disrupt the balance of the galaxy." "Disrupt the balance?" Tessa echoed. "How can one small, isolated planet pose a threat to the galaxy's stability?" "It's not that humans are hostile," Zarn explained slowly. "They're unpredictable. Most species share certain cognitive patterns. When we interact, we're able to understand each other, even if it's not perfect. But humans? They defy logic. Their behaviors are nonsensical by galactic standards. We've seen ambassadors break down trying to communicate with them, unable to grasp their concepts of humor, sarcasm, or even their baffling optimism in hopeless situations." Tessa raised an eyebrow. "So Earth was blacklisted because humans are different?" "Different, yes," Zarn replied. "But it's more than that. Their minds, their culture, they're dangerously adaptable. They can invent solutions to problems no other species would think of. They create chaos where other species follow order. Earth is a planet of anomalies. And when alien races attempted contact, they changed. Their translators malfunctioned, advanced technology failed, and the aliens returned home behaving erratically. To protect galactic harmony, the Council barred Earth from contact." Tessa leaned forward, intrigued. "But isn't that exactly why we should study them? To understand why they're different?" Zarn shook his head. "You don't understand. Contact with humans doesn't just affect the mind, it affects identity. Some of those who visited Earth couldn't reintegrate into galactic society. To preserve the sanity of our civilization, Earth was quarantined." A chill settled over Tessa as she absorbed his words. The galaxy didn't merely fear humanity, it feared what humanity could do to it. "Thank you, Zarn," she murmured, disconnecting. She knew what she had to do next. Despite the warnings, she would go to Earth herself. The mystery was too deep, too fascinating to abandon. If humans could truly bend the galaxy's norms, then they were worth every risk she might face. The celestial voyager descended through Earth's atmosphere, shuddering as it encountered turbulence. Dr. Tessa Moore gripped the console, trying to steady her hands. After days of unanswered questions and cryptic warnings, she was finally here, about to set foot on the forbidden planet herself. She had chosen a remote landing site in a stretch of dense forest, away from the bright lights of human cities. Her ship touched down softly, cloaked in stealth mode. As the engines powered down, she quickly gathered her equipment, a translation device, environmental sensors, and a recording log to document her observations. The moment she stepped outside, her instruments began malfunctioning. The translation device glitched, flashing random characters across its screen. Her atmospheric sensor, calibrated for nearly 1,000 different planetary compositions, suddenly beeped in error. She frowned, tapping the device, but it refused to comply. Ignoring the faulty tech for the moment, Tessa looked around, breathing in Earth's air. The forest was alive with sounds, birds chirping, leaves rustling, a faint, persistent buzzing of insects. It was chaotic, untamed, nothing like the ordered environments of most advanced planets she'd studied. Here, everything seemed to exist on the edge of unpredictability. As she moved cautiously through the trees, Tessa noticed a few humans walking along a path nearby. She quickly ducked behind a bush, watching them with fascination. They laughed loudly, speaking in rapid, overlapping phrases, their faces animated with expressions she found difficult to read. Curiosity getting the better of her, she activated her translation device, hoping it would decipher their language. The device sputtered before translating in a garbled voice. That was hilarious. I can't believe he did that. Tessa's brow furrowed. What was hilarious? She peered closer, trying to understand the context, but the human's speech was laced with strange expressions and laughter. They spoke in a way that seemed illogical, their words conveying multiple meanings at once. Sarcasm? Irony? It was exactly as Zarn had described. Human communication was riddled with nuances her translator couldn't grasp. As she followed the humans from a distance, observing their strange mix of camaraderie and teasing, she felt her own mind tugged into their rhythm. Their unpredictability was almost infectious, as if their emotions and humor radiated around them in ways her species had never encountered. Suddenly, one of the humans noticed her, their eyes widening. She froze, expecting fear or shock. But instead they laughed. Hey, love the cosplay, one of them said, grinning. You from Comic-Con or something? Tessa's translator sputtered but managed to convey the sentiment, though she couldn't understand what Comic-Con meant. Before she could respond, the humans had moved on, still chuckling to themselves. A strange realization dawned on her. They hadn't been afraid of her, nor had they reacted as though she were an alien. To them, the strange and unusual was just another part of life. She began to see what Zarn had meant. Earth's true defense wasn't technology or military might, it was the humans themselves. Their adaptability, humor, and boundless curiosity made them resistant to fear. They didn't just accept the strange, they embraced it. As she watched them disappear down the path, Tessa knew she had uncovered Earth's secret. This chaotic resilience wasn't something she could quantify in data or reports. It was a force of nature. And maybe, just maybe, it was powerful enough to reshape the galaxy. Back on her ship, Dr. Tessa Moore sat in the dim glow of her console, deep in thought. Her brief encounter with humans had left her awestruck and unsettled. Earth's inhabitants were unlike any species she had encountered, and their unpredictable nature had resonated in ways she hadn't anticipated. She compiled her observations into a report for the Galactic Council. She described Earth as a planet of cognitive dissonance, where logic defied itself and where humans seemed unfazed by chaos and the unknown. Her hands trembled slightly as she typed her conclusion. Humans may be the galaxy's most unusual species, but their adaptability, humor, and resilience could be a powerful asset if understood rather than feared. With the report complete, she transmitted it, hoping the Council would consider Earth not as a threat, but as a potential ally. However, she knew the risks. The Council might ignore her, or worse, banish her for probing too deeply into forbidden knowledge. Yet she believed Earth's unique traits made humanity worth the risk. It didn't take long for a response to come. Her screen flickered, displaying a message from the Council's high command. She braced herself. Dr. Moore, we have reviewed your findings, a stern voice said. The face of Counselor Naram appeared, his reptilian features set in a disapproving scowl. Your interactions with Earth were unauthorized and dangerously misguided. We placed that planet in quarantine for a reason. Humanity's impact on those who interact with them is destabilizing. But Counselor, Tessa argued, they're not hostile. They're creative. Their culture might seem strange, but it offers a perspective unlike any in the galaxy. Imagine what we could learn from them. Enough? Naram's eyes narrowed. Contact with Earth disrupts order, Dr. Moore. There are beings who returned from Earth unable to reintegrate. We cannot allow one chaotic species to endanger our civilization. Earth will remain isolated. Tessa's heart sank. Despite everything she'd seen, the Council would choose fear over understanding. But before she could respond, another voice broke through the channel. Dr. Moore, a new counselor said softly, her face appearing beside Naram's. Counselor Lyra, a rare voice of dissent on the Council, gave Tessa a small, encouraging nod. Know that not all of us agree. Some of us believe the galaxy might benefit from such diversity. Naram shot her a glare but said nothing. Lyra continued, officially Earth will remain quarantined. However, we'll monitor your findings privately. If humanity's influence proves manageable, perhaps we may reconsider their status. Tessa caught the unspoken hope in Lyra's words. She nodded, grateful that at least someone understood. When the call ended, Tessa felt a spark of determination. Earth's potential would not be erased so easily. The galaxy might pretend Earth didn't exist, but she knew the truth, and now a few key members of the Council did too. As she set a course away from Earth, A faint signal from the planet's surface caught her sensors. A piece of radio static, maybe, or a snippet of music. She smiled, knowing that Earth was far from forgotten.